Well, good morning, everybody, and welcome to the IT in 10 for January 4th. Happy New Year to everybody. Glad to see everybody back. Today we're going to be talking about, it's a continuation of the discussion we started a couple of weeks ago. We'll be talking about some of the non-technical certifications and training that's available for folks in the IT industry who have senior level experience. And here we'll go mid to mid-senior level, actually. So what are we talking about here? But 10 plus years experience in the industry, folks looking for director roles or administrator roles, or particularly in light of the certifications we'll be talking about today, consulting and contracting, folks looking to make that step in their career. And as always, I'm gonna make some T-shirts with this phrase. When you get to this level, it's important to bear in mind that credentials validate the experience you have. They do not create experience, and that's important because some of the certifications we've been talking about here don't carry an experience requirement, and you can obtain them just with some classroom preparation and passing an exam. Well, that doesn't necessarily mean you're qualified to do the job. Folks that were around a couple weeks ago when we talked about the PMP credential from the Project Management Institute and the Scrum Master certification from the Scrum Institute, a good example of, the PMI has an experience requirement. You have to have so many hours of project management, and the credential serves to validate experience that the PMI is going to vouch for. And on the other hand, the Scrum, and it's not to say that the Scrum isn't valuable, but you can obtain that with a couple hours, 16 hours, 2 days worth of class and passing a quick exam. And we'll see the same thing here today as we talk about a couple of certifications that are similar, geared towards similar things, Lean Six Sigma and the Lean Six Sigma Greenbelt specifically versus the Certified Business Analysis Professional certification from the International Institute of Business Analysis. Both of these involve very specific methodologies for improving business processes, and they tackle the idea of credentialing in a different way. Lean Six Sigma, and this is going to sound strange right off the bat, is a combination of Lean and Six Sigma. And before you all start laughing at me, Lean manufacturing is a concept that came from Toyota. And the idea is you look at your process, particularly a manufacturing process, and you analyze the amount of waste and you make it as lean as possible. You're reducing waste. The idea of Six Sigma was developed by Motorola in the mid-'80s, and it's geared around improving quality. Six Sigma, and there will be math involved in this. Six Sigma is a quality designation saying basically you've got 3.4 defects per million parts manufactured. You combine the two and you get the idea of Lean Six Sigma, that it's a methodology to improve quality and reduce waste on a systemic basis. And while its roots are in manufacturing, certainly it's applicable to any business process, particularly in the IT industry. Ton of credibility in the marketplace. You'll see job titles that involve continuous improvement. Obviously, the roots of this certification are in manufacturing. If you've got clients with that kind of experience, business operations, analyst operations, management, great in combination with a project management certification where you've demonstrated the capability to analyze processes, improve processes, and then lead the effort to make that change within an organization. A mid-level plus certification. If you go on sites like Indeed where they categorize job postings by experience, you'll find that the sweet spot for this is the folks with 7 to 10 years experience or more. It comes in several different flavors of increasing value, and it's based on the martial arts. So if you're a yellow belt, you've got a small role, a small interest, maybe you're overseeing at the executive level a Six Sigma process, but you just need to know a little bit about what's going on. You don't need to have the understanding of, say, somebody who's a green belt, who's doing a lot of the analysis work and the heavy lifting of solving quality and process problems within an organization. Above the green belt is the black belt, so somebody that's overseeing a series of green belts and yellow belts and overseeing the project. And then above that, typically you see somebody called a master black belt, and those are the folks that are training and coaching the black belts and the green belts, functioning more at a program level, and you're developing key metrics for an entire large enterprise level organization. The one that you see most often here in the Chicago market is the Greenbelt. All right, so how do you obtain the Greenbelt? Well, it can come in a number of different forms. It could be some instructor-led training or some computer-based training. You more than likely have to take an exam of some sort. You might have to do a project, either an in-class simulated project, which seems to be getting a lot of traction here in Chicago, or a project outside the class where you go to a company and you complete a Six Sigma project. You use this process to identify defects within an organization, and you minimize them and you make it as lean as possible. It could be a combination of all of those things, and I guess the question that comes to mind is, well, why are there so many different ways to obtain this certification? And a huge part of that reason is there are no unified standards for this. Even though Lean was developed by Toyota, Six Sigma developed by Motorola, they don't really do the training on this. They're using this within their own organization to drive quality standards. There is no, unlike the Project Management Institute, which has established the PMP credential, there isn't a single unified certifying body for Six Sigma. As a matter of fact, there are a ton of different certifying bodies. Perhaps the best known would probably be the American Society of Quality. If you want to obtain a green belt through them, it actually, there is a 3-year experience requirement. You take a 4-hour exam that's given every other month at a Prometric Center, and you've got a certification that's good for, I believe it's 3 years. But there are because there's no unified standards and there's no unified certifying body, you could obtain it through a number of different organizations. The International Association for Six Sigma Certification, DePaul, Northwestern, NIU all offer Six Sigma credentials. Also, what you see a lot of here in the Chicago market are private Six Sigma consultants who have been doing this work for a number of years, who have developed a curriculum, who are black belts or master black belts in a credential granted by another organization or another company, and they've hung out their own shingle and they're offering a Six Sigma class and offering the certification. And this isn't to say it doesn't have value, but as we'll discuss a little bit later on, it's important to understand where the certifying body is and who's offering the certification. We'll contrast this with the business analysis certification. Business analysis is just, broadly speaking, the person that sits between business units, and in an IT organization, maybe the IT department. In a software company, it's the person that sits between the business function and the development team to help develop recommendations and set goals and be that grease that makes everything turn correctly within the company. By multilingual, I mean it's not somebody that can speak multiple languages in terms of English or Spanish or French or what have you, but certainly somebody who can speak the language of IT and speak the language of business. Somebody who understands what a balance sheet is and how to set metrics and how to meet them, and can relay those to an IT team that might not be as well versed. Obviously requires that person to be a great communicator and have an eye toward analyzing what's going on in an organization to drive improvement. Ton of jobs for this if you type in business analysis, and for those who are experienced in this, that can carry a good salary. Another mid-level plus certification. If you're in that 7 to 10 years experience range, you should be commanding this kind of salary. And here, the IIBA has created a certification that helps establish that competency within the industry. Number of different levels for this. There's an entry-level certificate, a kind of a mid-level that recognizes BA professionals who have maybe 2 to 3 years experience. The one that you'll hear about most here in Chicago is the CBAP, the Certified Business Analysis Professional, somebody who's been doing this for a while and is eligible for the credential. And then the IIBA has established this idea of a thought leader for somebody with more 10 to 15 years experience in doing this. For the CBAP, for that third level there, it's important to remember that the credential carries a pretty significant experience requirement. 7,500 hours in the last 10 years, at least 35 hours worth of classroom time, and references. When you complete the application online, you type in a couple of managers or other folks who are certified in this, and the IIBA reaches out to them to confirm that that they know who you are. You might get the rest of your application audited, but it's automatic that they will reach out to your references and confirm that you are who you say you are. Another thing it's important to ask questions about for everybody is, hey, if you're taking a class that points toward the CBAP, is the class endorsed, provided by an endorsed education provider? If you go on the IIBA's website, they've got a listing of folks who have put together curriculum that is qualified for the CBAP. Obviously, you complete the application. We've talked about that. It's a 3.5-hour exam. 120 questions. The credential is good for 3 years, and if you maintain your classroom experience, taking 60 hours of class time every 3 years, you'll be able to maintain your credential. So that brings us back to where we started here. Actually, is these credentials validate the experience, and just because a certification might be easy to obtain, it's not going to guarantee employment for your clients. Smart clients should be asking specific questions of the training provider when it comes to these credentials, particularly ones that don't have unified standards like Scrum or Lean Six Sigma. And why? Well, these are the same questions that the employers are going to be asking. They might say, hey, you got your Six Sigma Greenbelt. Did you get it from the American Society for Quality, or did you get it from a consultant working for Joe's House of Six Sigma? And I don't mean to make light of the situation, because there are some senior level folks who have hung out a shingle and are teaching a class that's of value, but just because you obtain a Lean Six Sigma in this context isn't going to qualify you to lead these kinds of projects internally, not without the experience that you need to do that effectively. So that covers, we've gone a little bit over today. We're at 11 minutes. Thank everybody for tuning in. We'll get this posted presently. Our next IT in 10 episode will come up on Wednesday, January 18th, 2 weeks from today, accounting for the next holiday, Martin Luther King Day. We're going to take a little bit of a deeper dive into the Microsoft certifications, starting to get a lot of questions from WIOA career counselors here in the Chicagoland area about Microsoft, because there's been some huge changes in the way they offer their certifications, and there's been a lot of exams that have expired here with the end of last year and the coming of the new year. In the meantime, feel free to contact me directly at djacobs@nationallabel.org if you have any questions or suggestions for future episodes. Thanks for listening, everybody, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks.